Hello, welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Now, I've got a theory that sometimes in life, being a bit vanilla is okay. For example, I think cool Doritos are better than the spicy ones. Sometimes when you go out for an Indian, you just want a korma, and a vindaloo is a bit too much, and sometimes you just don't want to be tied up in barbed wire. That was a weird funeral. But anyway, this is the Alfa Romeo Giulia behind me. It's just been updated for 2023. It's had a facelift, and it is not the spicy one. I've only ever driven this in Quadrifoglio form, the big V6 leaving clouds of tyre smoke everywhere. And to be frank, some poo in my pants, because it's quite a spiky, spicy car. So I want to find out if 280 horsepower is all you really need, and if you should buy this instead of a BMW 3 Series. Let's go. Now I'm just quickly going to rattle through what's new and some of the specs on this car before we go for a drive and enjoy it. It starts from £43,000 up to £75,000 for the Quadrifoglio version. There are now only two trims in the UK, it's Sprint or this Veloce, and they've got rid of all the engines apart from the 2-litre petrol with 280 horsepower. And in the UK, we only get a rear-wheel drive one, and the Veloce gets Alfa's Q2 limited slip diff on the back axle. So yeah, it should be good. But what's actually changed? Well, when you facelift the Giulia, you don't cock it up because it is just stunning, and it's one of the prettiest cars that you can buy for under 50 grand at all, basically. It's just gorgeous. But what they've done is they've redesigned these three grills down here. There's some Italian word for that I'll probably mess up, so let's just call it tre biscotti. It's 3 biscuits of joy, those grills. And they've redesigned the headlights. They're now slimmer, and they've got the 3 C-shaped or U-shaped daytime running lights in, which has been nicked from the new Tonale, basically. And they are now matrix LED headlights, so they can block out oncoming cars and things like that. I still think it looks gorgeous. And this red, that's the free paint colour in the UK. More manufacturers, give us your best colours for free, and more people will buy your cars because they'll see these and think, my God, that is attractive. Now at this point in the video, I would normally make some pithy comments about features on the side of the car, such as, oh my God, it's got wheels, but it looks so stunning. I'm just going to stand here and just gawp at it and let you admire the work I've had done to the front of my house. That's a joke, that's not my house, but yeah, look at that, it's amazing. Sorry, I said I was going to show you the back, didn't I? Let's do that. As you can see, the changes around the back are really minor as well. Not that it needed much for a bum lift, but it's got slightly tweaked tail lights, which now have a smoked finish. And I think, I'm going to stop saying it, but it's a really pretty car. Let's check out the insides, because there are some bigger changes in there. Yeah, there's some pretty big changes on the inside. It's got new digital dashboard. It's been nicked straight from Alfa's new SUV, the Tonale, and that's got 3 different looks to it, and one of which is a quite cool classic Alfa Giulia thing, nicked from one of the 70s cars. Looks really, really nice. It's also got some tweaks to the infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's still a bit finicky and not as good to use as the one in the Tonale. I thought it was just going to be the same system, but it's still the old slightly recessed screen. It doesn't look as good. It's not as easy to use, but at least you've got a little iDrive controller as in a BMW, so you can use it without having to touch the screen. Otherwise, it's decent. There is an optional pack. There's £2,250. I think it's premium sound and comfort or something. And that adds leather on the dashboard, adds a Calm & Hard-on sound system, some leather on the doors and some other bits. This car doesn't actually have that. Has got very, very nice metal gear shift paddles, which are just beautiful. And really, all the things you touch in here feel great. Alfa's done a good job with this car. They gave it a few tweaks just after it came out because some of the plastics were a bit rattly on the gear knob. That's all fixed, and it doesn't feel as nice as a BMW, but it's really not far off, and you can forgive it anything when you grab one of these bad boys. Actually, just very quick, I'm going to show you what the rear seat space is like in case you want to use this as a family car. That seat is in my driving position, and it's okay. It's a little bit tricky to get into though, because the rear doors, they don't open that wide. I've got knee room I've got not a huge amount of headroom, but it's okay for a saloon. My feet do fit under the seat, and I've got a single lonely USB port down here. It's okay. It would just about work as a family car. Ironically, I kind of want the Giulia Quadrifoglio of the optional carbon bucket seats because they are a bit less bulky. But yeah, let's check out the boot and then we'll go for a drive. Honest, I promise we'll go for a drive soon. The Giulia's boot space is 480 litres, and just in case you don't speak in litres and have the boot space of every car memorised in litres like I do, that's the same as a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes C-Class. So yeah, it's pretty decent. The only thing is it's a saloon, so that is the only space you have through which to get items into the boot. But it's actually a reasonably large aperture for a saloon. It's nice and wide, and there's not much of a drop down inside. Is there any space under the boot floor? No, there is not. There is some polystyrene holding a tyre inflation kit. Can we drive it? Please. We probably should. Let's do it. All right, when you hop into the Giulia to go for a drive, it does feel pretty special from the get-go, thanks to a nice thin steering wheel. It's got an engine start-stop button on it, like you're in a Ferrari. And then it's a case of pulling it back into D and checking your mirrors, and away you go. Now, it's only available as an 8-speed automatic, and it's only available for that 2-litre, 280 horsepower petrol engine. And I always thought, oh, 4-cylinder engine in an Alfa Romeo, it's just not right, is it? You need a V6 with shiny chrome bits on it. Sadly, they don't exist anymore, because even the Quadrifoglio's V6 is covered in black plastic. But whatever, this 4-cylinder, it's actually really good. It's got 280 horsepower, so it doesn't hang about. It's pretty quick, and it also sounds all right as well. It doesn't get too grumbly, and it's got lots of torque, so you don't have to really thrash the knackers off it to go anywhere. But what really sets this car apart from other kind of family executive saloons is the way it drives on a twisty country road. It has got, I don't know, it's got nice fast steering, but it's not as hypersensitive as in the Tonale SUV, so it just goes where you want it to. But it's the way the body controls its roll around these bends, and the fact that it's rear-wheel drive really does help, because although I'm not skidding around corners, you get the sense you're being pushed out of corners. You're not being dragged out like in a front-wheel drive car, and it just works really, really well. It's an entertaining car to drive, and you can drive it proper blooming quickly cross-country as well if you want to, but because it's rear-wheel drive, you kind of feel like it's a little bit of a challenge and something you can master over time as well. It's just very satisfying to drive. The brake pedal feels nice, the brakes feel plenty strong enough, no problems there. The gearbox doesn't annoy me either. It's not really put a foot wrong in the couple of hours I've been driving this. It's always in the right gear, and if you want to, you can obviously use the massive aluminium paddles to pull it down a gear and then really go for it. And it's properly quick as well, this Veloce version. Well, the only engine you can get now. It's not just in the Veloce, unless you get the Quadrifoglio. I like it a lot. It does feel very much like a BMW 3 Series because it's rear-wheel drive. It just feels a bit more special than something like an Audi A4, which just goes about its business in a slightly more boring way. And it feels like quite a light car as well. When Alfa designed this back in 2016, it's been around since, they made it lightweight from the start. I can't remember the actual weight figure, but they went to such stupid lengths as giving it a carbon fibre prop shaft to the back wheels, and that saves 15 kilos. It's got an aluminium engine block, which saves something like 25-30 kilos over a regular pig iron one. It's been thought through by people that give a crap about driving. Other things I like, the Veloce spec that you get in the UK now comes with pretty much everything you would want, like radar cruise control, a heated steering wheel, heated seats. It's kind of got the lot, and the fact that you also get a limited slip diff on the back as well is great. I haven't really massively felt it, but I've not been hooning it too hard because I've got a bad back. Oh, what a proper old man whinge that is. But yeah, this is one of the finest cars in this class to drive, really not having to make any excuses for any single part of it. It feels how I always imagined Alfa Romeos would feel when Clarkson on Top Gear used to say, oh, you can't be a petrol head until you've owned an Alfa. I kind of get it from the driving experience, and I know there have been reliability qualms about Alfa Romeos over the past 6 years or so since these first came out, but Alfa said last night in the press conference that they're making that a real priority to make the ownership experience better. Don't know what that actually tangibly means, so if you own one of these and it's broken lots, do tell me in the comments, or if you've owned one and it's been fine, also tell me in the comments, because I always feel that internet forums are full of people who are having problems. The people who aren't are just getting on with their lives and not shouting about it on the internet. But anyway, I've waffled on way too long for the driving segment. I should say it's a hushed and refined motorway cruiser as well, because it is. I've been getting about 32 mpg, so it's not too thirsty for a powerful 2-litre petrol. It kind of does it all. I would absolutely rock one of these as my daily driver, because it's just a bit more interesting in every way. But that's almost a conclusion. Let's go back to me for a proper conclusion, perhaps on a military firing range. It's almost like I've already done that bit. Right, conclusion time for the Alfa Giulia facelift, and as is tradition on this channel, I've parked in a muddy puddle just to annoy people that think cars should be clean at all times. I've also accidentally driven onto a military firing range, so if there are any explosions or gunfire, it's them, it's not my breakfast leaving me. But anyway, this is one of the sweetest driving saloon cars you can buy, and that's normally a thing that you say about the BMW 3 Series, but to me I actually prefer this in a lot of ways. It's got nicer touch points, the steering wheel is slimmer, you've got those big gear shift paddles, it goes down a British road really well, soaks up the bumps well, but it's engaging to drive as well. And that 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, don't be put off by that, it's got loads of poke, and it's actually quite a nice part of the driving experience. And to answer my original question at the start of this video, should you go vanilla if you can't afford the Quadrifoglio? Absolutely, this is, in Veloce form at least, a really just well-rounded car. There are obviously some flaws because it's an Alfa Romeo. Rear seat access is not the best, the infotainment is a little bit dated still. You're best off just using CarPlay on it, but that's really about it. You don't have to make many excuses for it at all. It's a stunning work of art as well. And I can't say enough things about how good it makes you feel, and frankly, that's what cars are about for me. If you could have this as your everyday transport, you would just be happier every day you hop in it. But anyway, I've prattled on enough about this. Hopefully it's been entertaining or at least useful. Hit like if it has and do subscribe to the channel, because if I don't get shot in a minute, there'll be some more videos coming very soon. I've got to drive this back down that hillside. I can't wait. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Now I've got to walk through this to get to my camera. My boots are gonna get muddy. Cars don't rot, people. You can park them in muddy puddles. Not on YouTube comments though.